From the OU TV Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, California, this is Brief News Brief, a brief look at today's trending news topics. Proudly combating the thought police since 2016, here's your host, James Heaney.
I'm James Heaney, and this is your Brief News Briefing. Today, Trump took one big step for mankind, officially launching the U.S. Space Force, the United States Space Command. It's the first new combatant command created in more than a decade. Trump called the command's creation a landmark moment. He said it would help defend America's vital interests in space, the next war-fighting domain. And I think that's pretty obvious to everybody. It's all about space. Congress still technically needs to plot out what the details are, like how the Space Force would be organized, but they're working out the details. In June, the Senate confirmed Air Force General John Raymond as the commander of Space Command. The U.S. Space Command is the nation's 11th combatant command. So now there is a Space Command among the Central Command, Strategic Command, Transportation Command, Africa Command, Indo-Pacific Command. Space Command, go! Go for Space Command. The Air Force is still deciding where to locate Space Command's headquarters among the 6 U.S. bases. But don't be so confident about Space Command, because this is not the first Space Command. There was a Space Command before. It was launched in 1985 and disestablished in 2002 as the Pentagon reorganized in the wake of 9/11/2001. 9/11, yeah, took out the last Space Command. And don't go thinking that since the U.S. has a Space Force, that means we're fighting little green men and life-threatening asteroids. No, no, no. This Space Command is meant to fight China and Russia. Think of the jamming of GPSs and communication satellites and the possibility that those satellites could get shot down. It's basically the defense of the next dimension of Earth, out there in a layer of space. Houston, we have a Space Force. Today, the EPA announced that it plans to loosen federal rules on methane. What are they doing? Do they all want us to live in Waterworld in the near future? This new plan is going to allow oil and gas operators to largely police themselves when it comes to preventing powerful greenhouse gases from leaking out of the new drilling wells, pipelines, and other infrastructure. I mean, who better to police themselves than themselves? Let the child be their own supervisor or babysitter. It's ridiculous. It's also challenging the notion that the federal government has the authority to regulate methane at all. The Trump administration has taken several steps to limit the government's ability to regulate other greenhouse gases in the future, including in a recent finalized rule on carbon dioxide emissions from powerful power plants. Now, these steps are being taken in the interest of unburdening companies from regulation and reducing their costs. So short-term unburdening for multi-billion-dollar industries so they can threaten the sustainability of us living on this planet long-term. It's amazing how the human race is getting smarter as it evolves. Smaller operators felt that the Obama rule had made it really onerous on small businesses. Apparently, these small business operators are so powerful that they have the government going to bat for them, while some in the oil and gas industries, such as Exxon, Shell, and BP, are on board for a lower carbon future. Now, the EPA estimates that the proposed changes, which will be subject to public comment for 60 days after they are published, would save the oil and natural gas industry $17 to $19 million a year. That's a small fraction of the industry's, annual revenue, which exceeds $100 billion annually. Well, good for them. They could really use a break that, will in turn threaten life on the planet, but they need a break. So it turns out the GOP senators had a little bit of a message for the Supreme Court today. Oh, really? The Senate has a message for the High Court. Oh, do tell. What might that message be? Well, it turns out that their message to the court is, hey, don't listen to the note that you got last month from the Democrats in the Senate. What? Well, earlier this month, Sheldon Whitehouse and 4 other Democrats wrote their own little note to the Supreme Court. It said, the Supreme Court is not well, and the people know it. Perhaps the court can heal itself before the public demands it be restructured in order to reduce the influence of politics. What? Why had I not heard about this? Apparently, there is a poll out there that says that there's a majority of Americans that agree that the court is biased. Well, this one I can clear up for you real quick. It all goes back to the mythical land before Trump, when Mitch McConnell began politicizing the Supreme Court. This is when he wouldn't allow Barack Obama's nominee to go to a vote, and instead he held the seat open so that it could be a voter turnout issue in 2016. And guess what? It worked. It worked real good. So here we are in the psycho fallout of that not in good faith, what it brings you. So you, sir, Mitch McConnell, acted in bad faith for political gain, and now you're trying to accuse the Democrats of acting like gangsters? The Republican state. The Democrats' amicus brief demonstrates that their court-packing plans are more than mere pandering. They are a direct and immediate threat to the independence of the judiciary and the rights of all Americans. Oh, cut the drama, Mr. Moscow Mitch. Holding up that nomination was none other than a divisive trick and betrayal to democracy. I'm rubber and you're glue, and Mitch McConnell, you, sir, are historically the direct, immediate threat to the independence of the judiciary and the rights of all Americans. Yeah, you already done did it, dude. You already done did it.